Hi YouTubers, welcome to part 6 of my CNC plasma table build. In this video I'll be featuring how I built my magnetic breakaway torch setup using some magnets and some basic plate and aluminum and machining. I also want to give credit to a guy on YouTube. He goes by the name of Mike G, that's Mike space G. He built something similar to this with his gantry setup. I think he made his whole gantry setup. He has some pretty good videos on there, so you want to visit his channel. It's Mike space G. Anyway, so what I did here is I got some magnets from a company called K&J Magnetics. Here's a plug for them. Here's the card. They have all sorts of magnets. Pretty cool site. And I got the magnet. The magnets are 1/2 inch by 1/8 thick. They're D82 magnets. I don't know the exact pull, the pound per pull on those, but if you go to that site, it'll tell you. Again, I'm taking a guess on how much pull I need, but we'll get that in a moment. Let me just show you what I did. This is the original mounts that come on the precision plasma gantry system that you buy. And they're actually bolted to another part on the Z-axis, so it's a solid mount system. And these mounts hold a machine torch, and when I refer to machine torch, I'm referring to Hypertherm's machine torch. The only thing I did have to modify on the original gantry Z-axis setup was I had to cut the base of one of the tabs that stick out. This was originally set up to hold a torch for a handheld torch clamped in here. So again, I didn't even need this as well. So I just got rid of it because it was interfering with the setup I made here. So onto the setup I made here. I still have a lot more, not a lot more, but I still have a couple more machining operations to do. I have to finish slitting the torch holder pieces themselves. I didn't slit this one yet because my slitting saw doesn't cut deep enough. I'm borrowing one from a friend of mine who's a machinist. I just have to finish that off. And then hopefully these bolts here, I drilled and tapped this side of them and clearance and counterboard these here and here. Hopefully that this will squeeze this bore enough to clamp the torch in securely. We'll see. It's basically what that other person did on YouTube. His name is Mike G again. And so I also bored these holes to 1 inch 380. The torch itself is 1 inch, about 1 inch 375. About 5 thousandths clearance. Again, hopefully I'll take that up after I make the slit and bolt those together. The base plate I machined, it started out life as, I don't know, 750 thick, 60-61. I machined it down to about 600 thick. I also bought dowel pins, bullnose dowel pins. There's one here and one here. I bought those at McMaster-Carr, and they come with sleeves. They're 5/16 dowel pins. What I'll do is I flip this whole thing over to show you what I did. Okay, so here's the bullnose dowel pins. I don't know if you can see them or not, how they stick up and they come to a point, kind of a point. That's why I call them bullnose dowel pins. But what I had to do is I had to sink them down a little bit because the sleeves that came with it fully engaged the pins. And I didn't want that to happen because then it wouldn't break away properly. It would just stick and you couldn't even pull it off because it was a pretty tight fit. So what I did is I relieved the plate and I actually drilled these out and I used a reamer because again I wanted to make them press fit and a pretty tight press fit. So I didn't have to use any epoxy or anything to hold those in. Here's the magnets I got again from K&J Magnetics. Again, I made pockets. I milled pockets, I think with a 1/2 inch end mill. And it went down probably 150 thousandths. They are 125. So I went down just a little bit below the surface. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 magnets in here, but I also milled 2 more pockets in case I need to, once I get going with cutting material and working my table. I want to make sure if I have to add 2 more magnets that I have the capability of doing so without taking this whole thing apart. And then I counterboard for 1/4-20s here, and here that hold these guys, the torch holders, that hold them in there. And I also had to relieve these 3 holes for nuts that protrude to the back side of the original Z-axis gantry setup. What I should have done is drilled and tapped the steel plate that I do bolt to the Z-axis gantry setup, and then I wouldn't have to really. I would just have to have a smaller relief for it, but it's done, and it works fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll bring you over to the table and I'll show you how it attaches, but with one hand I can't pull it off correctly without messing the whole table up and moving the gantry all over the place. So again, it does work. It does break away. When I do pull it off pretty good, it definitely breaks away. It breaks away clean. I'm also going to putting a tether system on here because I'm running a water table, and I don't want the torch to fall into the water either. Basically, I just want to save the torch and save the tip from damage, or save, these torches aren't cheap, so I don't want to end up, if I have a crash, replacing the torch. So I'll take you over to the table and I'll show you how it attaches. Excuse the camera movement. Okay, so here's the steel plate. It's 1/8 thick. There's the 3 bolts. The 3 bolts that protrude through with the nuts. That's what I had to relieve the holes for on the back side. Here's the sleeves that are pressed in that I got from McMaster-Carr for the Bullnose dowel pin setup. Again, those are pressed in, so it doesn't need any Loctite. And here's how this attaches. Very simple. That's it. It's locked in. As I said, if I have 2 hands, I could pull it right off with some pretty good. It's got some good pull to it, so it's not gonna fall off as it's cutting or anything like that. It's fine. So my next move will be getting the torch to fit in here and start wiring the table up, and a lot of location and alignment of the V rails itself to get everything square. And then I'll do a final full weld of the Y-axis rails. They're just clamped on right now. I just want to make sure I have everything lined up before I do a full weld on this table. I'm going to prime it and paint the table, start wiring it, and I do have to finish the water tray. I still have a lot to go yet, but it's coming along a lot further than I was about a month ago. Again, I just wanted to make a safety feature for the torch in case it does crash. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully it holds up fine. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because I'll be putting up more videos of my plasma table build. Hopefully be cutting material soon, and hopefully make some money with this thing. So thanks for watching.